Hi, I'm Pastor David with Declaration Church. And just a few years ago, my family and I were up north of where we live in South Dakota, and we decided to stop by a cave. And on this tour of the cave, we get to this large room, and the tour guide says, "Okay, everybody here, take one of these." And he hands out these little lanterns. Basically, they're like buckets with candles inside. And he says, "Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have all the lights shut off so you can see how dark it is in this cave. And then we're just going to go ahead and light these candles inside the lanterns so that you can see how bright just one candle, just these little tiny lanterns could be in this kind of a situation where the darkness is so deep and so thick." And so here we are sitting in this dark room, and they shut out all the lights, and you could not see a thing. You could even touch your face with your hand, and you weren't able to see your hand in front of your face. It was that dark. There was no visible light in that cavern that we were sitting in. And then all of a sudden, the tour guide lights that first candle, and it pushes back so much darkness. It was amazing how bright that one single candle flame was in that very dark room. It pushed back the darkness. And I started thinking about that as I was reading through John chapter 1. In verse 5, it's really the whole chapter is describing Jesus and the situation of his coming into the world as the Son of God. And it talks about him being the Word. And then in verse 4, it says, "In him was life." In Jesus was life. "And the life was the light of men." And then here's the part that really stuck out to me. It's verse 5, John 1, verse 5. He says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Jesus is that bright light shining in the darkness of the world. So many things in this world are wrong, and we all can acknowledge that, I think, without too much difficulty. There's a lot of deception in government and in the world around us. People are generally trying to get ahead one way or another, and sometimes that leads to us really pushing to get our own way in really at the cost of what's best for others and really maybe the long term. And so there's a lot of darkness. There's hatred for stupid reasons, things even so minute as the shape of somebody's eyes or the color of their skin. And so there's a lot of darkness. There's violence, and there's hatred, and there's deception, and there are all these different things that are wrong in the world. And Jesus stands in stark contrast to all of those things. Jesus loves even when people are discriminated against. He goes to Samaria, and he loves on people there when they are completely rejected by the Jews, his own people. He loves the woman who is caught in adultery. He loves the woman at the well when she comes. She's been married 5 times. She's living with a guy that's not her husband. She's really not lived a very above board life according to the Jewish law and the standards that God sets forth for us. And yet Jesus loves her. Jesus is so anti-hate. Jesus is righteous. He is full-on representation and fulfillment of the law and the standards that God has set forth for us. He fulfills every one of those. He's not breaking any of them. He has fulfilled and accomplished all of them and lived according to the truth. He is the truth, according to his own words, later in John chapter 14. And so Jesus stands in stark contrast to the darkness of the world. And he invites us as people, as the creation in the world, to come to him, and provides us with the right to become his children and to become the children of God, his brothers and sisters. And he invites us to become what he is. He is the light. He is the life. And then he invites us to become that with him. He invites us to become a reflection of his light. He places his light within us so that we can show that light to the rest of the world. And so that's my invitation to you today. If you are tired of living in the darkness of the world and you're tired of things not being the way that they should, I want to invite you to take Jesus up on his invitation to become a part of the family of God and to begin to reflect the light that is Jesus, so that you can stand in stark contrast to the world as well. And the world can begin to see the light of Jesus in you and me. And by doing that, we can begin to see things change around us. Now, some people are going to reject the light. That's what happened with Jesus. It's what's going to happen with us. Some people are going to begin to treat us poorly. Some people are going to reject us and reject the message, reject the truth of who Jesus is, reject the love that he offers. And we have to be okay with that. But if we can begin to stand in stark contrast to the darkness of the world, reflecting the light of Jesus, I think we can make the world a better place. And so that's my hope for you today, that all of us together, as followers of Jesus, can reflect the light of Jesus so well, show the love of Jesus so well, that the world around us cannot overcome the light, and it begins to change because of it. If you're living true to the light of Jesus, you're reflecting that around you, and you're having a hard time, I hope that you're encouraged to know that even though in this world we're going to have trouble, just as Jesus stated, Jesus has overcome the world, and he is the light that will not be overcome. And so in the end, Jesus will bring you into himself and give you all of the love and the hope and joy and the peace that you need, even if it's beyond the extent of your time here on the earth. Hopefully that's encouraging to you. If this is something that you're enjoying, I hope you dive deep into John chapter 1 and that you'll begin to join us for these videos. Go ahead and subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if it's an encouragement to you, and start to get notified with these videos so that you can watch all of them and hopefully continue to be encouraged and grow in your walk with Jesus. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.